Welcome, everybody. Just a little bit of housekeeping before we get started. First of all, thanks so much for joining us. My name's Shane Carr. I'm the Senior Director of Programs here at Maccabi USA. If you would, please place yourselves in mute. And we're going to have a lot of fun tonight. Part of what we're going to do is have some breakout rooms. And in order for us to get everybody into their appropriate breakout rooms, we're going to ask you to rename yourself using the first letter of the corresponding breakout room that you prefer to attend. So if you are interested in learning about under 18, under 16 athletes, please place a U at the beginning of your name. If you are interested in learning about the open athletes, typically 18 and up, please place an O in front of your name. If you are interested in the Masters division, please place an M in front of your name. And if you're interested in learning about volunteer staff or volunteer coaches, managers, medical team members, please place a V in front of your name. We'll repeat these instructions again, but this will make the transition process to our breakout rooms a little bit later, much easier. We promise we'll get to as many questions as possible, so you can feel free to post them into the chat. And here we go.
Señoras y señores, tenemos el orgullo de presentar la Maccabiah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to present to you the Maccabiah.
Maccabi, Maccabiah, Maccabiah, Maccabi, Maccabiah, Maccabiah, Maccabi, Maccabi, Maccabiah, Maccabi, Maccabi, Maccabiah, Maccabiah. כולנו פה אחים, כולנו יהודים, כולנו מנצחים, שכולנו מכבי. Unidos hermanos y triunfadores. Maccabi.
Sing it loud.
Maccabiah.
Sing it proud.
Maccabiah. Maccabi.
Come on, everybody.
Maccabiah.
Let's hear it out.
Maccabiah. Maccabi. Maccabi. Maccabiah. Maccabiah. Maccabi. Maccabi. Maccabiah. Maccabiah. באש הלפידים,
לפידים,
בלב ובשרירים,
בשרירים,
ביחד ולבד,
ולבד.
כולנו עם אחד.
Everybody, make some.
My pleasure to introduce you all to President of Maccabi USA, Jeff Buchantz. Jeffrey. Are you with us, Jeff?
Yes, I'm ready. I wasn't sure it was time. I didn't hear you, Shane. Thank you. Hi, everyone. I don't know about you, but that music gets me in the Maccabi mood. We have a big group tonight. I'd like to welcome everyone in 22. Having chaired the Maccabiah in 2013 and 2017, I know that the success of those two teams was due to the passion and effort of a very large and dedicated 22 Maccabiah project. As you know, the Maccabiah is the third largest multi-sport event in the world, only behind the Olympics and World University Games. The success at those two events, though, is solely defined by how many medals you bring back to your country. And while we want to bring back as many medals as possible, and we always do at the Maccabiah, our success is determined by how many participants we bring over to Israel. And in 2013 and 17, we brought over 1,100. And for 2022, we're hoping to bring a world record delegation of over 1,300. So we at Maccabi USA, we strive to build Jewish pride through sports and promote Jewish continuity. But the Maccabiah is the defining event of the Maccabi movement, the flagship of the Maccabi USA portfolio. as it exposes Jewish athletes of all ages to Israel. So in the last 40 years, I don't think anyone has worn more hats for Maccabi USA than Lou Morriman, the general chair for 2022. Lou is currently a vice president, has served on the board, the executive committee, and 2 nominating committees. He has participated in 2 Pan Am Games, 1 European Games, and 1 Australian Carnival. Lou even chaired the 2015 Pan Am team, our second biggest project. But it is really fitting that Lou's magnificent Maccabi journey is now complete with him chairing the Maccabiah Games team. This will be Lou's 10th Maccabiah since 1981. And in the last 9, he has been a medal-winning athlete in both open and masters judo, a medal-winning coach, team manager, judo chairman, accommodations manager, Maccabiah overall sports chair, and a Maccabi World Union delegate. Lou was inducted as a Maccabi legend in 2012. So it is with great pride and pleasure that I introduce you to the man who bleeds Maccabi red, white, and blue, the general chair for the 2022 Maccabiah, Lou Morriman.
Thank you, Jeff. Can everybody hear me?
Lou,
yes.
Lou, you owe me $20 now.
Thank you, Jeff. I thought it was a lot more than that, actually. Thank you for putting the trust in me to do this, and thank you for the nice introduction. Also want to welcome everybody. And I want you to know tonight's show comes from our heart. And the things that I'm going to talk about comes deep inside our soul, deep inside our heart, that are very important as to why we do the games and all that. Being a general chairman is quite an honor and a privilege, and I hope that I do a good job. Jeff said a lot of other things nice about me already, and I do look forward that this would be my 10th Maccabiah Games. I'd like to start, though, I think we'd be remiss, since it's Veterans Day today, not to say thank you to all our veterans and anybody that might be on the call that is in the service. And I want to talk about lots of different things tonight, but one is that I have a niece named Christina Smith, who is a captain in the Air Force, and I want to send to her our special thanks. She flies fighter jets in Texas, and it's quite an honor for us in the family to have her. And again, thanks to all the veterans and all. Thanks for everybody on the call. I do want to mention that it's Mackenzie's birthday. I did sing happy birthday to her earlier. We don't have to sing to her. That's why I ruined happy birthday. But Mackenzie, happy birthday. We're going to talk about family and sports and why Maccabiah. I'd like to also say hello to my grandchildren that might be on the call, even though they're 4 and under. I want to say hi to Jack and Arthur and Harry and the baby Anna if they're watching. And all my children have been involved in the games. Jeff mentioned I've been in 14 different games. My 4 children total 15 games. I've had 11 athletes from my club participate, 4 coaches from my clubs, plus a lot of friends that are involved. And that leads me into this feeling that we have for Maccabi USA, Maccabiah Games, and ourselves of family and community. An old slogan was 2 weeks to experience and a lifetime to remember. I'd like to also say that I think there's like impact moments that happen during the games. They could take 5 seconds, they could take a whole game of playing a sport, but they're the ones that you're going to remember if you get involved. You're going to be deep inside you in your soul and in your heart. You're going to make friends from all over the place. USA, just from our own team, and your team within our delegation and other teams. In Israel, the athletes from Israel, the people from Israel, and especially to all the other Jews that are coming from around the world. When I got started in this, I didn't know what I was doing after I was an athlete and I coached. I went to a meeting and I sat there. I was in the back of the room and I said, oh my God, what am I getting into? And there was a gentleman that came to me. His name was Bob Spivak. And he sat with me and he talked to me. And I didn't even know he was the president at the time. And there was a lot of people back then that made me feel comfortable in the organization. So I hope that they've taught me that you can be comfortable coming to the games and being part of this organization as well. When I talk about friends from around the world, Jeff didn't mention that I've been involved. My sport is judo. We're going to talk about sport a little bit. I've had a chance to work with USA Judo on travel. And one of the things that as amazing. Wherever I go, I know there's Maccabi people, and I try and look them up. For instance, I've been to Chile for a few times for judo tournaments. And the best part of going to Chile is getting in touch with Alvaro Rosenblatt there, who was the chair for the Chilean Games and is the chairman in the International Sports Commission, and seeing him while I'm there. And the last time I went, I actually took one of our other coaches to his house, and we had Shabbat dinner. Now, what could be better? You're having Shabbat dinner with Alvaro, his wife Monica, his 3 children in Santiago, and you're with friends and Jews from another country, and you have the same passion about the games. And that's what we talked about at dinner there. So I want everybody to understand that there's so much here to get out of, to feel. When we go to Israel, we go to the Kfar Maccabiah. The Kfar Maccabiah is the headquarters for the Maccabi Union. It's a country club. It's a wonderful place, great food. They have great people, and they treat us so wonderful there. For me, it's like going to a second home. And Yoram, who's retired, along with his staff of so many people, they become deep friends that you know, we worry about each other. We talk to each other. The world's a small place now that we can, you know, easily Skype and WhatsApp and all that. But it's amazing that what this has done for me with them, what it will do for you. The other part about it is Maccabi families for all of us. You'll meet in a few minutes Deb and Tanya, vice chairs. Their families are so involved. All their children have been involved. I mentioned my children. I can't begin to tell you. I'm wearing this shirt tonight from 2009. Why do I wear it? This is a shirt that at the Bedouin dinner I was wearing when my daughter flopped in my lap and just looked at me and smiled, and we have a picture sitting on my desk of that. It's a memory that it's just so good. It makes you feel so wonderful. I say this again to a lot of people. What's my best memory? Maybe one of them was that I got a chance to compete. Jeff mentioned I was in the Masters. So old fart out there trying to do judo still. But my son was on the team, and my son was competing. And there I was in Israel. We'll talk about Israel later. But in Israel, on the mats, at the Maccabi Games, competing with my son. And looking up on the sideline when I was fighting, competing, and there he was coaching me. I can't begin to tell you what that's like. I'm sure Deb and Tanya feel the same way. And I want to mention a couple other people that have family there. I mean, my rugby buddy, Dave Rosinski, and his son, Michael, we talk about it all the time, how great it was to watch his son play. Steve Gittleman, a manager this last time, probably on the call now, one of my closest friends. His son came last time as a manager, probably will come again this time with track. The feeling of family starts with our own family, but blends right into what we're trying to do with Maccabiah. And I remember one of the instances many years ago when one of my guys from the past, Dave Weissman, who was softball chair many times and was involved years ago, one of my mentors, he was at the wall and his son was with him, and he didn't have a camera to take a picture, and I did, so I took it. And, you know, we had to get him, you know, processed back then and negatives and all. I forget about those days. And I sent it to him, and I'm sure it's somewhere in his office down in Florida where he lives. These are the moments, impact moments, I call them, that give us that lifetime of experience for going to the Maccabi Games. And I have a judo Maccabi family I want to tell you about a little bit. One of the athletes who was on the team with me, his son went to the last Maccabiah. One of our two-time athletes and two-time Olympic athletes, Damon Keefe, his son went to the Maccabi game and competed. His other son went to Mexico and competed, and his daughter competed in volleyball. They weren't all in judo. Only Nate was in judo. But it's amazing, like, to see that. And we had dinner one night, our families, and it was just a feeling of warmth, a feeling of greatness, a feeling that just comes from being involved with the games and all. And also, I have a great Israeli judo family. I travel now, I see the Israelis, and they're very, very good at judo. You're going to meet one of them in a video in a few minutes that was excellent at judo, and what a great person. I'll introduce him shortly. The president of the federation, Israeli Judo Federation, he and I competed in the Maccabi game. And then I have my friend Yona Melnick. 50 years we've been friends, through judo, through Maccabiah. This is the impact things that we do that we don't even know we're doing. Jeff mentioned third largest sporting event. It started in 1932, the Maccabi Games. It was 10,000 athletes in the last game from 86 countries. We had 1,131. We're projecting 1,250 in 2022. Why? What is so important? Why sport? Well, I think everybody in the call here probably loves the sport they're doing. I won't hide that I'm a judo fanatic. Okay, I saw Scott on the coming in when he was checking in one of our judo chairs. I know he's a judo fanatic. We have a love of the sport that we do. This is a chance to compete in Israel against Jewish athletes from all over the world and Israeli athletes. It's just a fantastic feeling to know that you're going on the soccer field, the basketball court, the wrestling mats, the fencing strip, whatever your sport is, and you're competing for an international medal. Hopefully we're going to take more medals than anybody else. Don't think we don't want us to win medals. We want to win lots and lots of medals. And what a feeling it is to get a medal to put around your neck. Whether you compete in 2 matches or 2 games or whatever it is, it's fantastic. It's an impact that just goes beyond words sometimes. The feeling to know that when you go home, you can just pick up your phone now and call all over the world and Skype with somebody or WhatsApp somebody or FaceTime somebody you just competed at in an international meet and you're friends for the rest of your life is incredible. One of the impact stories I like to tell you is in 1981, the first time I went, I met a gentleman named Ronnie Schneider. I believe at the time, and this is 40 years ago, so my memory isn't so great, that he was playing actually for the U.S. soccer team. And he's moved back to Israel since then. 2 or 3 Maccabees later, when we ran into each other, he told me that he knew there was a Megerman family in Israel. And I said, what do you mean there's no Megermans that I know about in Israel? He said, well, my cousin married a Megerman. Unfortunately, it took me about another Maccabi to find them again and get the phone number of this person and call this person up and find out there is a Megerman family in Israel. Only one in the whole country. And when we finally got together and met and talked about our families, we won't take a test because we just decided we're related. But he looked like my uncle, you know, and his kids that I've met, that we have a bond because of the Maccabiah. I have family in Israel, and that's who I would never have known about. So that's just the things that happen in those special little moments that make the Maccabiah such an event that is incredible. So what do we have also with it? We have an opening ceremonies. There you are, standing with your USA warm-up on or USA clothes, whatever we decide that we're going to wear in the opening ceremonies. You walk through whatever they prepare. It might seem like miles to get to the stadium. And there you are, you're about to walk into the stadium. Think about it. You're about to walk into the stadium, and there's maybe 300 Americans in front of you, or 600 or 800, or maybe you're at the front or the back of the line, doesn't matter. You're just about ready to step in. And when you do, you look up, and there's 40,000 people standing and cheering, not for the whole USA team, just for you. That's what it feels like, even though you're with their whole delegation. It's a moment that it's going to get into your blood. It's going to make you feel so proud to be a Jew, so proud to fight anti-Semitism, which is too rampant in this world now. Such a meaningful thought process. Excuse me, I was getting a little touched there. People say, why do you go back? And that's one reason I go back, to get that feeling of what it's like to walk around the track and wave to people and smile and know that it's just all about athletics and being a Jew and being Jewish and being in the country of Israel. And once everybody's in and everything's settled down, I want to tell you, it's the biggest trading bazaar there is in the world between the athletes. Everybody is into trading clothes and pins, hats, and whatever. It's totally awesome. My daughter once traded and yelled at me to not watch because she had to take her warm up off to get the one she wanted, and I had to walk away because, you know, it's your daughter. But that's an impact moment. It just, watching everybody do it is great. Doing it yourself is fantastic. Then you're done. No, what do you mean you're done? Then there's a show First, there's some kind of show, and then you're watching dancers and singers and whatever the performances are. There have been so many great ones. And at the end, 40,000 people plus 10,000 Jewish athletes stand up and sing Hatikva together. Does it get better? I'm not sure it gets better than that at all. And to me, again, this is one of the best things for our kids, our team, our juniors, our open, our masters. You walk in there and you know you're a proud, proud Jew. And this is very important for all of us. And we're proud that we're in the country of Israel. So what about Israel? What's so great about Israel? I don't know I'll tell you what's terrible about Israel. If you drive, it's crazy and traffic's awful. Outside of that, I don't know what else is bad about Israel. You have the modern Tel Aviv. You have the ancient Jerusalem. You have history wherever you walk. You have cultural. You have technical stuff. You have medical advancements. You have great food. And without a doubt, you have absolutely wonderful people to meet. One of our goals this time is to be interactive with more Israelis when we're there. All this is happening while you're at a 2-week, 3.5-week sporting event. It's amazing. It really is amazing. I want to tell you one other impact story before we get on and almost get to Zevi. This story happened in Chile. It didn't happen in Israel, unfortunately. And it happened in opening ceremonies there. I always like to take some pins to give the kids and hats and all that stuff. It's, they love it. And we were walking in and I looked over at the stands and I saw a young man sitting there with a woman. I assumed it was his mother. And I just ran off and I was hoping I wouldn't get arrested, ran to the front, handed him a hat and a pin or a pin. I don't remember, but I think it was a hat and a pin. He looked down at me. Someone took our picture and I ran back in line. Impact moment. This is the impact moment of it. When the picture was developed, that I sent it down to Alvaro, my friend. I said, this is a picture of a young man. He was maybe 7, 8, 9 years old, 10 years old. And I gave him something. Maybe his parents would like it. I have it at home. I think it's great. Don't even know his name to this day. He wrote me back, Alvaro, and said, Lou, you don't know what you just did. That young man lost his father in a motorcycle accident 3 or 4 months before the games. He had not smiled in 4 months. When you gave him that stuff, he smiled. He looked at his aunt and smiled. And he started to turn a little bit of a corner. Wow, impact moment. Handing somebody a hat or a pen. You never know what's going to happen in the Maccabi games at the Maccabiah. Where are we? We should have had our team already. Office should have been collecting forms and coaches are all in place and everything ready to go. And we were going to go this July and it didn't happen because of the pandemic. And God, I hope that the pandemic is over, and I also hope our country heals. That's something for me that I think we all hope for. So now we're starting again. We're reopening the Maccabiah that really the staff and I have never closed. So on to the games. Apply if you're interested. Try out. Be part of the delegation. Ask us questions. That's what this show is about. We're going to move on. I want to introduce a video. The reason there's a video from this gentleman is he lives in Israel and is very, very late in Israel right now. We asked him to give us a video. He's a very, very great friend. We met in the 1993 games. He was 16 at the time. And I watched him compete. And you'll hear it a little more. I don't want to say everything, but wow, I just was unbelievable. I said, this kid's going to be great. Well, he's a fantastic athlete. He's a celebrity in Israel. Everywhere you go, everybody knows him. But more important, when you meet him in the video now, Eric Zevi, I want you to know he is just a fantastic and great person. So let's all watch Eric Zevi.
Hello, everyone. How are you doing? For those of you who don't know me, I'm Ariel Zevi. I'm the chairman of the 21st Maccabiah. I was an Olympic athlete for a little bit more than 20 years. I participated in 4 Olympic Games. I finished 5th in Sydney, and I took the bronze medal in Athens. I gained 9 medals in the European Championship, 4 of them were gold. My last gold even made me the oldest ever won the European title, so at least I have 1 international record. And I won a silver medal in the World Championship. I'm very proud to be the chairman of the Maccabiah. I have a very long history with the Maccabiah. I participated for the first time when I was 16 years old in 1993. I had a fight for the bronze medal against an American judo player. Lou Meyerman was his coach. Hi, Lou. I managed to win that bronze medal. It was one of my first international competition. In 2001, I was the guy who was carrying the Israeli flag in the opening ceremony. And in 2013, right after I retired, I was one of the athletes who held the torch. So for me, it's a great closure to be now the chairman of the Maccabiah. I'm looking forward to see you soon in Israel, and I promise that after the Corona, I will come to visit you there. And I'm very proud and happy that the U.S. delegation will be the largest delegation in the Maccabiah, as usual. So thank you, everyone, for the effort, and I hope to see you soon, and good luck.
So we have on our screen now some notable alumni that have participated in the games. Basketball player in the Grenfell and Mark Spitz, Danny Shays, Mitch Gaylord, basketball and gymnastics, Perry Shrug, gymnastics, Garrett Weber Gale, swimming, Lenny Krauselberg, swimming, Jason Lezak, swimming, Anthony Irvin, swimming, Donna, who's going to speak shortly, basketball, Dean Kremer, who is now a professional baseball player with the Orioles, and Max Fried, who just won the Golden Glove for pitching this year for the Atlanta Braves, and he was on our 09 team and pretty much unhittable at the games. So these are some of the people that have gone to the games, and now we're going to go to our alumni. Tanya, you're up.
Okay. Hi, I am Tanya Megerman. I am one of the vice chairs, along with Deb Adams, helping Lou out for the next games. It's my pleasure to introduce Taylor Stone, who's going to be one of the athletes speaking. Taylor was 15 in 2012 when she tried out for, I was the field hockey coach, and she tried out for the open team. And I can tell you that her ability was right up there with all the other open athletes who are already in college. And I felt her maturity level was there. And I guess 8 years later, I was proven right. Taylor was a two-time All-American at the University of Louisville. She was a team captain for Louisville. She has been on the USA Field Hockey National Team U17, U19, and U21. And she is currently working for an artificial intelligence company. And I believe she's living in Virginia now. So it's my pleasure to introduce you guys to my favorite alumni, Taylor Stone.
Oh, wow. Well, first of all, thank you, Tanya. You've had such a positive impact on not only my Maccabi experience, but my entire life. So I can't thank you enough for selecting me for the team and taking a chance on me when I was so young at 16. Also, thank you to the Maccabi board members and staff for making this dream a reality for so many athletes like me. I know how much work goes on behind the scenes to make this happen, so thank you. The Maccabi Games have been a great part of my life. My family is Jewish, but when I was really little, my family had to make the choice of Sunday school or field hockey practice, and my parents ended up choosing club field hockey practice. Needless to say, I didn't grow up with much of a Jewish upbringing, but Maccabi changed all of that for me. I was lucky enough to go to the Maccabi Games for the first time when I was 16 years old. It was a completely eye-opening experience, and I was lucky enough to be coached by the incredible Tanya Megerman and play with some awesome teammates, all of them being older than me, because when I tried out for the games at 15, I wasn't very confident. I didn't think I was good enough. It was an open team, meaning some of the women were at least 10 years older than me, and some of them were Division I field hockey players, specifically Rachel Megerman, who's Tanya's daughter, who played for the best program in the country, UNC. So that was intimidating for a high school sophomore to have to prove herself in the environment like that. The girls were so inviting, and they took me right under their wing from the beginning when we all met at the airport. So making this team not only prepared me for college, but also prepared me for my entire field hockey career as a player and a leader. And I truly learned about the country of Israel and my faith on this trip, traveling across Israel and seeing Masada, the Western Wall, the Dead Sea. And without Maccabi, I would have never had the opportunity or felt so connected to the Jewish culture. I feel like I came home much more mature and appreciative of Jewish religion that first time. And 4 years later, I got to do it again. And this second trip meant so much more to me because, one, I had become the first person in my family to have my B'nai Mitzvah, which was such a surreal and emotional experience because I got to go through it with such a supportive group of Jewish individuals. And two, we took one more step and beat the Netherlands to win the silver medal in the final game. And if you know anything about field hockey, the USA never beats the Netherlands. So I was fortunate enough to be named team captain during one of these games, and this absolutely aided my development as a leader to become captain for the Louisville field hockey team and have confidence as I continued my career for the USA development teams. The Maccabi experience has molded me into a better person and absolutely a confident leader. I've cherished the relationships that I've made at the Maccabi games, specifically other Jewish athletes that I've met around the globe. I have friends in Argentina, Germany, Australia now, and some of my best friends that I talk to every day are my teammates during these games. And I've kept in touch with the ones around the world through social media, here and there. But again, these relationships are some that I would have never made if I didn't go to the Maccabi games. It's crazy to think that just 8 years ago, I was trying out as the youngest player on the team. And in those 8 years, I competed twice in the Maccabi games, graduated from the University of Louisville, played a ton of hockey between, and now I'm 23 working for an artificial intelligence firm. And who knows, in 2 years, maybe I'll be back in Israel. Finally, there's no other feeling like representing your country. Wearing the letters USA across your chest and being part of a team is surreal. If you get the opportunity to be part of this incredible Maccabi experience, just take a moment, just take a step back, be with your team and soak it all in. It's a crazy feeling, but it feels like time stops in that moment for just a second. Thank you again to everyone that's joined us tonight. I hope that you all get the chance to compete in Maccabi in 2022. And now we're going to move on to watch a short video from a few other athletes and listen to their Maccabi experiences. Thank you.
Thank you, Taylor. That was really beautiful. We're so proud to have you on our team. We're in the interest of time, we're actually going to skip the video for now and stick with our live panelists. And I'm going to introduce you to Debbie Adams. Debbie is one of our co-chairs. She's a vice president of Maccabi USA. She's also a gold medal winning golfer. Most recently, she was the chair of the USA delegation that went to the European Maccabi Games in Budapest. Debbie, thanks for joining us tonight.
Hi. I'd like to introduce Donna Orender. She has been recognized as one of the top 10 most powerful women in sports and one of Newsweek's 100 most influential people in business. Donna has worked for the WNBA and the PGA Tour and now is the CEO of Orender Unlimited. Prior to business, Donna was a top collegiate and professional basketball player and had the privilege to play in the Maccabi games for Team USA. She is currently a vice president of the Maccabiah USA. For the 2022 games, Maccabiah games, Donna is the overall basketball chair and the women's heading the women's initiative. Please welcome Donna.
Thanks, Deb. I appreciate that. I have to just say, I want to, Taylor, I have to recruit you right now. Because all of us were watching you saying, if I could coach you, I would. If you were my kid, I'd want to like take care of you. If you were my sister, I'd want to be your best friend. You were just amazing and wonderful. And I just want to say thank you and congratulations.
Thank you so much.
No, really, Really wonderful. What can I add? I think you covered it all, honestly. But it's funny, when Jeff came on, Jeff said something about, what is winning? Is winning gold medals? Is winning sending the most people on a team? I guess we're all here to find out what winning means to us. And for me, you might have been, Taylor, the youngest player on your team. But I have to say that when I went to play basketball, I was the oldest. And I had played professional basketball. My career was over, and I had heard about these Maccabi games. And it's interesting. No one really knew about them. We wonder about that today, too. But someone mentioned it, and I said, you know what? I think I want to try out. When I told my boss I wanted to try out for these games, you know what he told me? He said, if you go, you're fired. I was in my 20s. I'm like, what do I do? And you know what's interesting? I felt so strongly that I wanted to be somewhere, not just somewhere. I wanted to be in Israel. I had never been. I wanted to have USA on my chest, right? I wanted to compete for my country. And for me, that was winning. And I was willing to give up my job. And so I said, so be it. I'm going to give up my job and go to Israel and play. Thankfully, I made the team. God rest the soul of our coach who recently passed away a couple of months ago, Howie Landa, who's a legend. And it was an extraordinary experience. Kfar Maccabi will always be one of the greatest destinations of my life, where I met so many athletes, not only from America, but from Canada, from around the world. A sense of Jewish community that we can't even begin to understand until you're a part of it. And what does it do? It awakens things in each of us. It doesn't matter how old we are, whether we're 15 or 16, or playing as masters as 55 plus or 45 plus, right? I know Don Kent's on it, and we've talked about this a lot. It awakens this sense that I am part of something bigger than me. And if I should get a medal that validates it, wow, that is just gravy. But if not, the medal that you get is this gold, this silver, this bronze of experience and life connections that pay dividends for your whole life. I have been involved in Maccabi for a very, very long time. And why? Sometimes I ask myself. We all devote a tremendous amount of time. It's because, and I think Lou said it, it's because of the love, it's because of family, it's because of fun, right? And it's because of friends. But we're also making a difference. And in today's day and age, when we never thought we would see anti-Semitism rise the way it has, we feel definitely more intentional about why we're here and the purpose of our presence. For me, when I started, I was just a kid. Didn't even have a boyfriend at the time, but here I am now, right? I've been in business a long time, ran a sports league, I have kids, and you know what? You want your kids to play in this. Every kid I meet. So if you're a kid that's debating, if you're a parent that's thinking about it, this is experience that is so exceptionally unique and truly soul-changing. And so I wanted my kids to play in it. My kids were good athletes and they were basketball players. And so they ultimately played in Berlin and they played in Israel. And I guess I can tell you in the full circle, we went to Mexico City, one of the greatest experiences as well. It wasn't even only about Israel. It's when I got to work under the leadership of Tanya Megerman. Oh my goodness, it was amazing. I got to reunite with Howard Levy, who played for the men's team when I played for the women's team. His son played in Mexico City with my son. And so here I can tell you all these years later that one of my son's greatest desires, his dream, was to play basketball in Israel. Last night, we put my son on a plane. And today, he arrived in Israel as an Olim. He became an Israeli citizen this morning. He's about to live his dream. That it was tied to my dream is an amazing thing. And that we should be able to talk tonight, and I can share this with you, is also pretty amazing. So it's with great thanks to all the people who support the Maccabi Games. And we can't do that without that but support, the time, the energy, the economic support, the resources, because this truly is a life-changing, forever life memory that all of us participate in. And we come back and try to do it over and over again because that's how meaningful it is. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna. That was awesome. I'm so thrilled that we get to spend 2 nights with you in a row this week. Donna's been the host of our bi-weekly sports show on Zoom. We've had a lot of fun together, some incredible guests, and thanks again for joining us tonight. That was really terrific. We have a lot of really wonderful alumni with us this evening, and we're going to have some more fun. We're going to do some breakout rooms. So in case you missed it, I'm going to go through the instructions so that you can guarantee you get to the breakout room that you are most interested in. So one more time, a little bit of housekeeping, if you would. So on the right-hand side, you'll see the directions of how you change your name. You click on that little participants button on the options on the menu, and then you scroll over. You find your name in the participants list. You scroll over your name and hover over it and hit the rename button. At the beginning of your name, put the initial that corresponds with the group that you would most like to hear about tonight. U is for under 18 and under 16. O is for open. M is for masters. V is for volunteer staff. If you get hung up and you're totally confused, hang out for a minute. Dan Kurtz is here. He's our director of strategic programs, and he will strategically place you in the correct room so that you don't get lost in the shuffle in the breakout room. One small note, if you're a 2003, you're probably going to be in the open age group. That's one of the results of the postponement of 1 year to 2022. There are some slight nuances to the age groups in the juniors, but a general rule of thumb, 18 and up or 2003 and up will be in the open age category. Gonna quickly run through the list of panelists that are gonna be with us tonight. In the U18, U16 room, we have Beth Ellenport, Brett Holtz, and Brian Knapp. In the open room, we have Peter Berry, Mitch Feinsilver, Taylor Stone, who you know already. In our Masters breakout room, we have David Blatt, Monte Frank, Joel Rudin, and Denise Winter. And in our Volunteers breakout room, we have Matthew Halpern, Leon Lifshitz, and Summer Runnestad, and of course, Julie Tucker. Again, if you get lost along the way, hang out. Dan will get you to the correct breakout room. We've never had breakout rooms this size before, so cross your fingers, hope it'll work out well. We'll come back together in about 15 minutes or so to wrap up, talk about next steps, and get to a little bit of Q&A. So Dan Kurtz, if you're ready. Thanks, Dan.
You're welcome.
Way to go, Dan. Gold star.
Stevie back.
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Summer.
All right. Thanks again for joining us, everybody. So as you can see on the screen, this is the time commitments in terms of dates for 2022 that everyone at your respective competition levels will need to commit to being in Israel for. On the right-hand side, you will also see the financial commitment that all delegation members will need to pay or fundraise. It's a little bit hard to read on here. So if anybody wants any clarifications on the dates or the financial commitment, please be in touch with the Maccabi USA office. We'd be happy to explain it to you further. But in short, the U18, U16 athletes and the open athletes, some will be leaving on July 3rd for Israel, some will be leaving on July 5th, and then they will be departing back home on July 26th. They leave so early in order to partake in our training camp period and then our Israel Connect period, which is a very important part of the experience in Israel. And the Masters athletes, the dates are July 12th to 26th for the games, but they're only required to be in Israel for the competition. But we hope that you will be able to spend the entire 2 weeks with us there. And here is a quick breakdown of our upcoming schedule on what we're planning to do. So for those who do want to be considered for joining the delegation, please visit our website, MaccabiUSA.com, and submit your formal application if you have not done so yet. This coming summer, we will be having all of our team tryouts over a couple of months span. And by the end of next summer, we will have our delegation appointed in full. when you do get your formal notification of appointment, we do ask that you commit to joining us with a deposit in 1 week of getting accepted, and then all payments and forms will be spread out on certain dates to be hitting thresholds by and be in by beginning of April 2022. Shortly afterwards, all of our U16, U18 volunteers and open athletes, they will be getting their tickets booked for Israel. Of course, we're going to be leaving in July, and then looking forward to marching in the opening ceremonies on July 14th. And here's just a couple of questions that we get for most people. I talked quickly already about how to be considered for the team, so please visit our website, MaccabiUSA.com, complete your application with your $50 application fee, and then how do you actually get selected to a team? Your tryout selection process is currently in development with all of our sports chairs. What that means for your sport will vary, but past methods have included tryouts or using national rankings, verified times, video footage, or other means to be selected for the team. If you want to know who to contact for information about your specific sport or discipline, on our website, as well as our complete organizing committee list that is separated by sport, and then just check what your division is, age group is, and contact either the chair or the coach if they're appointed already. Coaches will be listed on our website once they are appointed as quickly as possible once that is available. If you would like to speak to anybody on the phone to discuss anything about the Maccabiah games, please feel free to call our office. Our number is 215-561-6900. It's listed on our website as well on our emails everyone has. We'd be happy to speak to you about any questions that you might like to know about. And then in order to, when you will receive a decision regarding your application, you will get a formal notice from our office when you will be told if you've made a team, or some people unfortunately will be getting a notice that they have not made a team. And then regarding volunteers who want to join the delegation, if you would like to be a coach, all sports chairs make those decisions who will be a coach. So if you have any interest in coaching a team, check out our website and be in touch with the sports chairs of what you're interested in. And then in terms of the management and medical team, once your application is in, it'll get sent off to our respective management and medical team leadership, and they will be in touch further with more information.
Jeff, are you with us?
Shane, you hear me?
I hear you. Thank you.
Are we ready to wrap up?
Yes, sir.
So with that, everyone, I want to say, as you can hear from our three speakers tonight, Taylor, Donna, and Lou, how the emotion of this experience for everybody from 23 to Lou's almost 70. And it's such a life-changing moment. And as you could just see from before, Shane, you still hear me?
Yep.
There is one negative that comes with this unbelievable experience. It's very expensive, and there is the stigma that we are only for rich people. And we cannot control the cost of sending the athletes to the games. But the one thing that we can control is the ability to provide scholarship for those who can't afford it. And I ask for your help. Donna talked about thanking you for your support in all the different ways. Well, one of those ways you can support us is financially, because we want to send these kids to the games, and we want to have a $1 million scholarship fund. So I ask you from the bottom of all of our hearts to go to www.MaccabiUSA.com and please help send these kids to Israel, especially for the ones in need. So with that, Shane, I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you, Jeff. I'm actually going to bring on my colleague, Mackenzie Mager, and we're going to have a little bit of fun with a raffle.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Shane. I first want to say it's so nice to see you all, and nice to actually put some faces to names that I've had email conversations with. Thank you again for all joining us. So we thought we'd have a little fun with you guys, and thank you for joining us by having a raffle. The winners will be receiving this Maccabi USA water bottle. Hopefully you can see this as I'm showing it. I can attest that it does keep your water cold for a solid 12 hours. It's definitely one that you will want to have in your collection of water bottles. So I am using a random number generator online. We have 274 people registered for tonight. And I will draw a number and find the corresponding name, and we will do 5 drawings. So here's our first one. So number 263 is Damon Keeve. Congratulations, Damon Keeve. Our next number, 191, is Lenny Silberman. Lenny, if you are on, thank you so much for joining us. We're sending a water bottle your way. Our next number, we've got 264. Larry Colton. Larry Colton, if you are on, thank you for joining us, and we have a water bottle for you coming your way. Now, the fourth number, 212. Eva Solomon. Eva Solomon, if you are on, congratulations. We have a water bottle coming your way. And our last number is 56, which is Tamar Simon. Tamar, if you are on, thank you so much for joining us. This is all, by the way, in order of registration. This is not by last name. It is how you, the time and date that you registered. So thank you again so much for everybody for joining us, and I'm going to throw it back to Shane.
Happy birthday, Mackenzie.
Thank you, everybody. I got to spend it with my closest 165 Maccabi USA friends. It's wonderful. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, thanks for hanging in there, everybody, and thanks for wishing Mackenzie a happy birthday. She's an awesome member of our team, and we're lucky to have her. And we're also lucky to have Lou. You want to have some parting words for us, Lou?
Yeah, thank you, Shane. I'll be happy to say a few words at the end. First, I do want to thank the staff, Shane, Stevie, Shane, Mackenzie, and Dan. They put most of this show together. Of course, I did 100% of the work, but that's okay. I'm just kidding. This was a great show tonight. I hope everybody's excited. Please go apply. If you're on the organizing committee, let's get started again. Get the rest of our head coaches in, start discussing things. We're going to have upcoming meetings for us, as well as, so everybody knows, we're going to have some more shows on the Maccabiah. We do want to let everybody know about our Israel Connect program, our mission, more information as we get it from World Maccabi. So stay tuned. Probably start every other month, but we'll build it up and we'll try and keep them as interested as we can. So congratulations to the raffle winners, and I thank you. We're going to close up, but we offer anybody that wants to stay on, you can stay on as long as our head people, Danny and Shane, keep the Zoom call open. If you have any more questions or you just want to chat amongst us, we will stay on for a few more minutes. And for those who might want to see it, we'll probably show the Bruce Pearl, Jason, Lee, Zach, and Jeff Agros video too. Again, sorry we ran a little bit late. We had a lot to cover. I hope you really enjoyed it. Give us some feedback on it, and have a good night, and stay safe and stay well. Good night, everyone.